work he still needed to do. He was behind on his taxes and had gotten an extension, but he had to have it done this weekend. He sipped his coffee, looking at the stacks, wondering if it couldn't wait a few hours. It is, after all, Sunday. Wayne shrugged and sipped his coffee again, then turned to look at Arlene, but she was no longer there. Arlene? Wayne looked to all corners of the small yard, but she was nowhere to be seen. He hadn't heard the screen door slam shut as he would if she had run inside, and the yard was fenced in, so there was nowhere else she could have gone. Something was terribly wrong. He just knew it was. Heart in his throat, Wayne dropped his cup and the coffee spilled on the carpet. It left a stain for him to be reminded of this day for years to come. That night, at precisely midnight, the old Stromberg Carlson rang for the first time in 100 years. 2 years later. Chapter 2. Nassau, Bahamas. Martha Pattison was holding on tight to the handle under the ceiling of the small van. The bumpy road made her nervous. "Are you sure he knows what he's doing?" she whispered to her husband, Carl, just as the driver swung the old van out in front of a car. Martha let out a scream. Carl laughed. "They drive a little different down here," he said. "I'm sure he's got everything under control." Just as Carl had said the words, the driver took a sharp turn and led them down a small street with slum houses on both sides. "This doesn't look much like a safe neighborhood," Martha said, clinging to the handle even though it was slightly loose. The car was rustling and squeaking on the bumpy road. "It's gonna be fine." "You sure he's not just taking us to some place where his little friends are waiting with machetes to rob us of everything we have?" Carl chuckled. "I'm pretty sure." She snorted. "Pretty sure? That doesn't sound very reassuring." "We're on vacation, Martha. Relax and enjoy it." The van bumped back onto a bigger road, and the driver took another sharp turn, made it out just in front of a car, and barely missed it. Martha screamed again. The driver looked in the mirror with a bright smile. "Shortcut, ma'am. I know all of them on the island. That's why they call me Shortcut Mike." "That's nice," Martha said, but she didn't mean it. "Or you can call me M&M, like the candy, not the wrapper," he said with a loud laugh. He looked at Carl. "Here for vacation." "Yes," Carl said. "It's our 30-year anniversary." 30 years with boss lady here, huh? Martha and Carl looked at each other, then smiled. M&M nodded. Very nice, very nice. Well, welcome to the Bahamas. Best vacation you'll ever get. Here, we are too blessed to be stressed. If you're stressed when you're here, then you're not doing it right. M&M burst into a loud laugh. On the dashboard, one of his 3 cell phones started to vibrate. He didn't even look at it. 10 kids, he said. There's always something. Then he laughed again. He pointed out the windshield. See those buildings over there? Chinese are building there. Gonna be the biggest buildings in all the Bahamas. The Chinese, huh? Carl asked, surprised. Yes, Chinese are everywhere. They buy it in the name of some big company, but that company is owned by the Chinese government. There are buildings like that shooting up everywhere around here. They have bought so much land, they own half of the Bahamas now. And they gave the government money, lots of money. They even built that stadium over there as a gift for our government. Don't know what they want from us. Maybe they just like to go on vacation too. It is awfully beautiful here, Martha said as they drove over a tall bridge. In the distance, she could see many small islands and more boats than she had ever seen. She had heard about the beaches here, but now that she saw them, she realized they really were whiter than paper. She couldn't wait to feel the sand between her toes. Martha had dreamt of this vacation for years, ever since Carl promised her they'd go for their 30-year anniversary. They were going to spend the first 4 days at a small resort on Paradise Island before they continued their trip island hopping. It was the trip of a lifetime for Martha, and she had been looking forward to it for years.